It is National Zookeeper Week, so it's a good time to feature the animal care professionals at the Dakota Zoo.
And in today's Dakota Zoo News, Katie Varga is joining us live from the Dakota Zoo in Bismarck. KTV, tell us all about it.
I'm here at the Dakota Zoo and I am with Allison. Now you are the assistant director here. It is National Zookeeper Week, which obviously you're going to celebrate around here. That's a pretty big deal. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the third full week of July every year is National Zookeeper Week, and the main point of that is to celebrate the career of zookeeping, which is such a robust, exciting career. It's filled with highs and lows and all the passions of taking care of animals. So I'm going to let Riley talk a little bit more about it with you today as one of our zookeepers here at the Dakota Zoo.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm standing in front of the little frog exhibit. You are the exotic keeper here. You also have a little friend here. Tell me about what you do.
So being a part of exotics, I take care of everyone in our primate center, all of our penguins, and obviously everyone here in our discovery center. I helped to design the dart frog enclosure we have behind us, and I am holding our little Chinese crocodile lizard friend here as well. So a whole lot of fun to work with all the reptiles and amphibians in this building.
So what is it like to work at a zoo, and what's your day-to-day? What do you have to do to become who you are?
So I've been at the Dakota Zoo coming on 5 years here this September. Being a part of exotics means I take care of a whole lot of different critters throughout the day. Depending on the routine, it could be working in primate center all day, either making sure that they have plenty of good enrichment, things for them to take care of throughout the day to keep them occupied and entertained, as well as having a good balanced diet, or going and taking care of our penguins, educating the public on their conservation efforts and everything, and just kind of having fun, getting to show them their personalities while I feed them and everything. So it's a good, varied job. Wear out a lot of different hats. Getting to this point, I went to college for a 4-year biology degree, as well as doing a couple of different internships. Growing up at my local zoo, they had a volunteer program, much like our zoo crew program here, that kind of got my foot in the door, got me a little more interested, got me doing things like docenting, teaching people about little animals like this here that have their own story, whether it be conservation or just kind of personal things like rehabilitation and things like that. So it's a good way to kind of get your foot in the door and decide if that's what you want to do. So it's a good program overall.
So you kind of talked about your path, how you got here, the volunteer program, all of that. Somebody who's interested into coming into a career like that, what advice would you give them?
Definitely be open-minded. There are a lot of different facilities throughout the U.S. You might not always end up where you grew up. I grew up in Fargo, North Dakota, and got pretty darn close, but I've also lived in Oklahoma, Minnesota. I have friends who came from California, Arizona. It's definitely a field where you're going to be doing a lot of traveling, which if that's your thing, then that's absolutely great, because there's a lot of really cool, interesting places where they have a lot of really interesting facilities and animals that you can work with.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to move back to Allison. You know, he talked about the volunteer program that you have here. You also have, so I've seen some of the volunteers, but then you also have a very large staff who are in all these different departments. 2 questions. Number 1, how do you become a volunteer? And number 2, I just want to know about your amazing staff.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to volunteer at the zoo, we have a great volunteer program for teens all the way through adults, and they can just contact our education coordinator to set that up. Our staff works so hard. If you can imagine, here in North Dakota, it's cold winters and it's hot summers, and we are here every day, no matter what. There's no days off. The animals need to be cared for, and our staff are dedicated, and that's what this week is about, celebrating the hard work and dedication that comes with the career.
That is amazing. And you have, like Riley, a variety of staff. What's your favorite thing about your staff here?
Probably just the diverse background and knowledge. I know that I have got different staff that make the zoo run as a whole. So no one person is really the holder of all the knowledge. It takes a lot of brains and a lot of different expertise to run a diverse collection. So Riley's one of our reptile experts. He's one of our fish experts. We also have staff that are experts in carnivores and birds and the like. So it really takes all of us to make the zoo run as well as it does.
Yeah, it sounds like it takes quite a bit. Riley, back to you. I gotta know, what is your favorite thing about doing this every single day?
Just seeing the connections that public can make when they come here and they see, animals like this that have a really interesting conservation story, or just kind of as we're training and they get to see how animals interact with us and how they interact with their environment. It's really interesting seeing, a future zookeepers coming through here and what I used to be like growing up, just having that fascination with wildlife and just zookeeping in general. So
Really fast, you mentioned conservation story. What's his story?
So Chinese crocodile lizards are an endangered species from China, as the name implies. They're a more temperate species. It's thought that due to things like climate change and habitat loss, their cooler streams and pond habitats that they come from are going to be wiped out in the next 100 years or so. Now, luckily for these guys, they breed pretty readily in captivity. They're well known for the bright red colors that the males get during breeding season, but because of that, they're pretty popular in the pet trade. People will harvest them from the wild. And being a species that will oftentimes go into metabolic stasis, where they'll just kind of pause their body for a good couple hours at a time, they're very easy to catch if you can find them. So it's really good that we have great populations in zoos throughout the U.S. and worldwide, and that we have a good kind of backup population in case something were to happen to their wild constituents and have like little friends out in the wild, basically. So.
Well, Riley, you are very knowledgeable, so I'm glad that we have your incredible team here at the Dakota Zoo. So thank you so much for talking to me as I explore our community. From me to you and you to me, have a delightful day. I'm KTV.
This has been the Dakota Zoo News, brought to you by Dakota Zoo. And the Dakota Zoo is open daily, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., weather permitting, of course.
And you can call them at 701-223-7543 or find them on social media, also their website, dakotazoo.org. But